Alabama's prisons are the most overcrowded in the whole country.
And some violent criminals are getting out of prison early because of what's known as the good time law.
Tonight, in part 3 of our special report, we uncover a scary situation involving the state's parole system.
It's a problem that's getting worse by the day. Here's Fox News reporter Libby Amos.
Experts have told us that overcrowding in the Alabama prison system is the root of many problems. We've also discovered that there's no money in the budget to fix the problems. Well, the problem runs deeper than just the prisons. It follows the inmates, even as they're released on probation or parole. Tonight, we look at how the system keeps tabs on the men and women who leave prison before the end of their sentence.
When prison overcrowding is so bad that early release is granted to well-behaved inmates, more criminals get out of jail sooner. Once they're free, the state doesn't have enough parole officers to keep track of them. Cynthia Dillard heads up the Pardons and Paroles Board in Montgomery. She says they catch a lot of blame for prisoners getting out and then reoffending.
When people are released from prison, everyone thinks that they must be on parole. But over a third of them are getting out on a split sentence probation that's ordered by the judge. Nothing to do with the parole board. Another third of them are getting out end of sentence, neither on probation or parole.
Prisoners who are serving a split sentence, life without parole, or are facing the death penalty are the only ones who are not eligible for parole. Every single other inmate is guaranteed by law to be considered by the board for early release.
Successfully completes that program, he'll come home and still cut some time off of his sentence.
Dillard put the parole consideration process in perspective.
Their sentences are coming up. Say they're going to EOS in their sentence within 2 years. The board has to look at them and say, now, do I really want to parole this sex offender who could get out and the next day molest another child?
The complications in the system only get worse. The board's budget has been cut by $10 million. The lack of money is forcing each officer's caseload to get heavier every month.
Our average caseload per officer right now is 196 per officer, plus they have to write these mandatory pre-sentence investigations, and that's a major problem.
So one parole officer who may be working out in the field is responsible for making sure that about 196 people are coming to him, checking in, being drug tested, and have a job and are following the rules.
Exactly. And there's usually a lot of rules.
That's scary.
It is scary.
Alabama employs fewer than 300 officers who supervise 67,000 parolees and probationers. Dillard says her officers do great work, even against the odds. In Florida, the parole probation arm of the corrections system is fully funded by the state. Florida law mandates that each parole officer's caseload not exceed the range of 70 to 90. If that figure is exceeded, the state is responsible for providing money to hire more officers.
The problem now is too many people in the state of Alabama are on probation or parole because there's no room for them in prison. It's also a bargain for the state to keep criminals on probation or parole. It costs about $41 a day to keep someone in prison versus $1.87 to supervise them on parole or probation. In Mobile County alone, there are more than 500 people who are wanted for violation of their parole or probation. With the number of outstanding cases, parole officers don't have enough time to track down everyone. As for those who remain behind bars, for some, the path to freedom begins with an understanding of what led them to prison in the first place. How long were you in school?
I went to the 9th grade. I completed the 9th grade. I was going into the 10th grade and decided I was going to drop out of school and live on my own, as they say, take the world by the coattail and see where it headed, and that was a bad mistake. If I had stayed in school, I probably wouldn't be here today.
And education is a big factor. You know, I work in the canteen and we have people come with with money on their account, but they can't even sign their name. They don't know how to read or write. They have to have people help them fill out their store sheets. And that's sad this day and age to know that people aren't getting their education.
Those two people are paying for their mistakes every day. I have a candid conversation with them about their life behind bars. Their stories may serve as a wake-up call to young people headed down the wrong path. I hope you watch it. It's only on our website, fox10tv.com.